UFC submission phenom with ridiculous control, Diego Lopes.
Amazonas, Brazil, Diego Lopes!
I'm telling you right now, before everyone else starts acting like they knew, Diego Lopes is the next problem at featherweight.
Was unable to healthily. Oh! So quick.
Not maybe, not potential. Problem. Because he doesn't just beat you. He locks you in a situation where every decision has consequences.
Go back and forth. Look at that elbow snapping right there. He for sure snapped something in there. And then he transitions to the mount.
He averages 1.51 submission attempts per fight length. But he also averages 1.08 knockdowns in that same time. So if you're thinking, I'll keep it standing, he can put you down. If you're thinking, I'll wrestle, he'll twist you up. This is the kind of style that makes veterans look stressed in the first minute.
He's going back to armbar. Let's go, there he is.
Because here's the problem. If you're thinking, cool, I'll keep it standing, he can crack you and put you on your back anyway.
That's two right uppercuts. It's a deep shot sneak out.
If you're thinking, cool, I'll grapple him, you're basically volunteering to get trapped in a tightening net where every escape turns into a new disaster. That's why Diego Lopes feels like a cheat code right now.
Bro, this is the fight for me.
Like the game is supposed to give you one safe option, and he deleted the safe option. And the part that makes this story hit harder? A few years ago, this guy wasn't living like a future UFC star. He was living like somebody trying to survive the week. We're talking about an 8-cent breakfast, literally 0.50, and lunch for 1.00, sleeping in gyms.
He was introduced to the sport at such an early age due to his brothers and father's involvement. As Lopes continued to train,
Traveling hours just to train, and at one point in Mexico, no shower. So they washed using buckets. Buckets. The same dude who's now out here suffocating ranked fighters for a living. So yeah, meet Diego Lopes, featherweight, listed around 5 feet 11 inches, about 146 pounds, 72.5-inch reach, orthodox stance, fighting out of Lobo Gym MMA, born December 30th, 1994.
And the experience of Solano. Wow, look at Lopes with a combination. Going quickly for the double leg takedown.
And the record tells you instantly what kind of night you're signing up for. 27-7, with 11 KOT, KOS, and 12 submissions. That's 23 finishes in 27 wins. Not wins, finishes, closings, end credits.
Diego Lopes jumps out of the cage, full of excitement and joy, and he gets to celebrate.
He's been out of Brazil for the last 9 years in Mexico, chasing this dream.
Now, when people say ridiculous control, it usually means the boring kind. The kind where somebody hugs your legs and stares at the clock like it owes them money. Lopes is not that.
through all this, Lopes would continue his MMA career, developing his skills in the octagon.
Lopes' control feels like you're stuck in a room and somebody keeps moving the walls closer. He doesn't control you so he can rest. He controls you so he can make decisions for you. Your hips get pinned. Your base disappears. Your arms get pulled apart like he's untying a knot. And the second you solve one problem, boom, he's already 2 steps ahead, creating the next one.
To finally arise for him came on Dana White's Contender Series. As Diego previously told MMA Junkie,
And it's not just, he looks good. The numbers back it up. His takedown defense sits at 73.9%, which is top tier for a guy people think of as a grappler first. That matters because it means he's not a please take me down jiu-jitsu guy. He can choose where the fight happens. He can say, nope, not here, when you try to wrestle him.
And dashing hopes on the regional circuit soon caught the eye of the Lux Fight League.
And if it does hit the mat, either because he put you there or because you got desperate, he's still a nightmare in the chaos. Now let me rewind how he became this kind of weapon, because this is the part fans connect to. Lopes is from Manaus, Brazil, and he starts in jiu-jitsu like so many killers do. But talent doesn't pay rent. Talent doesn't buy plane tickets.
Top of his head right there. He started eating him in his face.
30 seconds, get down!
30 seconds!
It's so much for jiu-jitsu being the gentle art, man.
Yeah, you know, not gentle in results, gentle in delivery sometimes, but this is not a Brazilian jiu-jitsu match, this is a fight.
Talent doesn't keep the lights on. So he does what fighters do when the dream is bigger than the resources. He suffers for it. In Sao Paulo, he's grinding so hard he's eating the cheapest meals he can find, training constantly, sleeping wherever there's space, living around the gym because the gym is the only thing that feels like it's pointing him somewhere.
Toda a pessoa de Manaus, porque basicamente pra gente é o esporte que mais se destaca na cidade, né? Ter o meu time.
Then Mexico becomes a major chapter. Puebla, teaching jiu-jitsu, chasing MMA, building a whole second home in a place where he's still basically surviving, still scraping, still finding ways to train when the normal way isn't available.
He fell his impressive run of 16 wins and 1 loss in his most recent fights.
That's where his style hardens. That's where the control becomes a personality. Not nice technique, survival control. The kind of control that says, I fought for this life, so you're not taking an inch from me.
Doom for many before him. Feeling confident in his position, Brito underestimated the danger lurking below.
Now the UFC moment, the first time the bigger world went. Wait, who is that? May 6th, 2023, UFC 288. Lopes takes a fight against Movsar Evloev on short notice. And yeah, he loses the decision. But the performance was so aggressive, so dangerous, so...
Leg lock, leg lock!
Evloev's knee is out of it, he's sliding back, he spins, he's on top.
This guy is here to fight, that it wins fight of the night. That's a $50,000 bonus for both guys. Think about that. Short notice UFC debut, and you're already getting paid like a crowd favorite. That's the first clue.
Therefore, after having refined his striking, becoming better at high volume striking, improving his overall game,
Lopes doesn't show up to survive. He shows up to make you earn every breath. Then the wins start stacking, and they're not the safe kind either. You know how some guys win and it's like, okay, cool, next? Lopes wins and people replay it like, how did he do that so fast? One of the best examples is the Pat Sabatini fight. People expected a grappling-heavy chess match, the kind where everyone's whispering, don't get submitted. Lopes basically said, chess match? Cool, I brought a sledgehammer.
Pero saca muy bien las caderas Diego Lopes para defender el derribo.
He shuts down the wrestling, lands the shot that flips the fight, swarms him, dumps him on the fence, and finishes with ground and pound in under 2 minutes. That's not just skill, that's intent. That's a guy who wants to end your night before you even get comfortable.
Ya lo tocó. Aquí viene. Va por su segunda victoria López. Esta segunda y esto termina. Rápidamente y en el primer asalto.
And then comes the moment where you realize submission phenom doesn't fully cover it.
Brito thought he had survived the storm. Lopes attempted an anaconda choke, testing the limits of Brito's endurance.
UFC 300, the pressure cooker card. The kind of stage where prospects either freeze or turn into stars. Lopes fights Sodiq Yusuff and knocks him out in 1 minute and 29 seconds of the first round. And the stat line is actually ridiculous. 2 knockdowns in a fight that barely lasts longer than a TikTok. So now you've got a guy who can choke you, but also can just erase you on the feet before the commentary team finishes saying your nickname.
Declaring the winner by TKO.
Then he shows another gear. He beats Dan Ige over 3 rounds. Decision win. And that's important because it tells you he can pace.
Presented by those about to die. Chariots crash and gladiators clash.
He can think. He can fight with a plan for 15 minutes instead of just sprinting for a finish. That's when you start looking at him differently. Not as a chaos guy, as a real contender. And then, the fight that made a lot of casual fans go from, I've heard of him, to, oh, he's next. UFC 306, Diego Lopes versus Brian Ortega. Ortega is a name, a real featherweight threat. Not somebody you just run over casually. Lopes didn't squeak by him. Lopes basically took control of the whole story for 3 rounds and made Ortega look like he was stuck in traffic. The scorecards? 30-26, 30-27, 30-27. That's dominance. That's not close fight. That's, you're lucky it ended. And it wasn't just pressure. There were moments where Ortega looked like he was trying to escape a car wreck.
So the finish for Diego Lopes.
Lopes clips him with a clean slip and rip left hook. Boom, knockdown. Then he's on him instantly, taking the back, hunting the choke before the horn. And that sequence right there is the Lopes experience. Strike to drop you, scramble to control you, threaten the finish, repeat. No rest, no mercy, no time to breathe.
What an exchange.
Oh! What a fight!
Now let me talk to you like we're watching tape together. Lopes' ridiculous control isn't one magic move. It's a system. He doesn't treat positions like a destination. He treats them like a conveyor belt.
Macio is trying to recover his butterfly hook, which he did, but
he hits a spot, forces a reaction, and that reaction gives him the next spot. And because he attacks the whole time, you never get that little mental break fighters live on. Most guys want you to give them something. Lopes makes you give him something.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness, he's got it!
He strips your options away until you're basically guessing under pressure, and guessing wrong gets you choked, smashed, or slept. That's why his submission numbers are insane, even in a division filled with killers. Among active featherweights with enough UFC experience, he's number 4 in submission average per 15 minutes at 1.51.
If he looks familiar to you, he was in the corner of Alexa Grasso when she became the UFC Women's Flyweight Champion. He's been out of Brazil for the
That's not, he's good on the ground. That's, he is constantly creating submission danger like it's his cardio. And here's the twist that makes him terrifying. He's also near the top in knockdowns, top 5 in knockdown average per 15 minutes at 1.08.
Já grudou o Sabatini, fez bem a defesa por enquanto brasileiro. Boa joelhada do Diego, meteu a mão direita, novamente entra de double leg e pede Sabatini.
That's why opponents look tense even when they're standing. You're not just defending takedowns, you're defending chaos. You're defending the moment where you blink and suddenly you're on your back with his weight stapled to you. Now the title shot chapter. Lopes fights Alexander Volkanovski for the vacant belt at UFC 314 and loses a unanimous decision over 5 rounds. And yeah, losing a title shot stings. But here's what matters. A lot of guys lose at that level and vanish into rebuild land for 2 years. Quiet fights, slow momentum, people forget. Lopes didn't do that. He comes back and headlines Noche UFC in September 2025 and stops Jane Silva with a TKO at 4:48 of round 2.
Yourself at all times, obey my commands at all times. Tough stuff now if you want. The sound of the bell coming out, handle your business. Let's go.
That's the mark of someone who's not fragile. Someone who can take a big moment, learn, and keep moving like the train doesn't stop.
Ele vem pra cima, jab direto, de novo jab direto, encontrou o cruzado. Pegou, sentiu.
And if you're wondering, okay, but is he still right there? Yeah, he's still right there. His next listed fight? Sydney, Australia, January 31st. And it's Volkanovski versus Lopes again. Run it back. So let me say it clean. This isn't a hype train. This is a guy who took the hard route. Brazil grind, Sao Paulo survival, Mexico bucket showers, short notice UFC debut against a ranked monster. And instead of breaking,
Desde que abandonei a Brasil, sigo aprendendo, sigo evolucionando.
He built a style that makes elite fighters look like they're constantly one mistake away from drowning. And here's why it feels like he has control, even when he's striking. Because he forces predictable reactions. He doesn't throw punches just to land. He throws punches to make you move your feet a certain way, to make your hands rise, to make you square up. And the moment you square up, the takedown threat becomes real.
pain, and the hours no one sees. The work you put in is the only thing.
When the takedown threat becomes real, your stance widens. When your stance widens, you get slower. When you get slower, he hits you again. That's how you get a guy who can choke you out and drop you at those rates. It's not magic. It's layers. It's pressure with purpose.
I mean, he's fighting like there's one slot left on Noah's Ark and it's starting to rain. I mean, he's going for broke.
Diego's success is because he's non-stop. He's always training, he's always teaching. He's a great, great coach.
And remember that 73.9% takedown defense. That's the quiet killer stat. Because a lot of submission guys are happy playing guard. Lopes can threaten there, sure. But his best work is when he's the one deciding where the fight lives.
His first UFC title fight, Diego Lopes.
If you can't even reliably take him down and hold him there, now you're stuck standing with a guy who can crack, while knowing that one slip turns into you fighting for your neck. So here's the fun question, the one that always turns the comments into a war zone. If you're a featherweight contender right now, what's the game plan? You can't just avoid the ground because he'll knock you down. You can't just wrestle him because he's hard to hold and he scrambles into threats. You can't just outwork him because he's shown he can fight full rounds against serious names and still be the one doing damage.
Nothing great is accumulated by accident.
And the best part? We don't have to guess much longer. Sydney, Volkanovski, Lopes, again. Now tell me, are you betting on the champion's experience or the phenom's pressure and control?